I'm sorry, guys, but my daddy didn't get to make it. My twin sister is here, though.
Guy shaves his beard and he gets mocked instantaneously. Man, I'm still Danny, and this is still the Lassercast, and I'm here with
Charlotte.
And we are talking about, you guessed it, it's a Saturday. That means we were up all night watching Joe, Bob, and Darcy on the last drive-in. Season 3 got started last night, and we're going to give just a few minutes of thoughts about it. First of all, there was a very special guest for the entire evening last night.
It was Eli Roth, the person I know from House on the Clock and Its Walls and History of Horror.
That's right. That's also the first time she got the name of that movie correct. We always joke around and call it the clock with the walls on its house, or the house with the walls in its clock.
Yeah.
Joe Bob tried to give him shit about that last night because, you made a kids movie. And Eli Roth was right. He made a horror movie for kids. And I thought that was great. She really enjoyed that movie when I took her to see it.
But I forgot it.
We did it is kind of forgettable, but it's fun. But yeah, Eli Roth, man. Eli Roth, I've been a huge fan of him for many, many years. And she watched all of AMC's History of Horror. And really, you could watch those on Shudder, by the way. And he was fantastic. He helped her get into horror. And it was great to see him on the show.
He got me to watch the scariest movie that ever lived.
The Exorcist, right? I mean, let's be honest. She has to go stop the cat from eating flowers. It was just great to see Joe, Bob, and Darcy back. This is the beginning of Season 3 of The Last Drive-In. And it's every Friday night you get to pull up on Shudder. You get to open up a beer or just drink some water and sit back with these two guys, with Joe, Bob, and Darcy, and watch these, crazy horror movies. It's just fun, and it brings the horror fam, it brings the mutant family together, and Twitter becomes actually a fun place to be instead of a toxic environment because we're all tweeting at each other. It's just such a fun night for horror fans, and every week, starting now with last night's episode, we're going to be covering the movies, the double feature that they show on the last drive-in. So what was the first movie they played last night?
Mother's Day.
Mother's Day.
I thought it was just too intense.
Yeah.
I went to bed in the middle of it.
Yeah. I have questionable parenting skills. She is 10. She has seen The Exorcist. She's seen multiple other horror films that you probably shouldn't show to a 10-year-old. And I'm fine with that. Mother's Day pushed the envelope even a little bit for me. I didn't force her to go to bed, but I did kind of suggest maybe you should go to bed tonight. But we did watch the first hour or so of the movie. She did like the lead girl characters. She thought they were fun. Mother's Day came out in 1980. It was directed by Charlie Kaufman, the brother of Lloyd Kaufman of Troma Studios. And first of all, I have to mention this. There is a scene at the beginning of this movie where one of the girls is on roller skates at a backyard pool party where there's drugs and bikini-clad people all over. And I swear to God,
it's just a pool party.
It's just a pool party to you. To people who have seen the film Boogie Nights, I am convinced now that Paul Thomas Anderson is a secret Mother's Day stan. I think he saw this scene in Mother's Day and decided to kind of recreate it years later with Heather Graham as Roller Girl and Burt Reynolds and all of those actors at the pool in Boogie Nights. It's just too similar. And I'm not the only person. I saw many people on Twitter jokingly saying, what is this, Boogie Nights? So yeah, that we're on to you, Paul Thomas Anderson. We're on to you. I had never seen Mother's Day. I remember the VHS box from Flo's Video back in the day, the local video store across the street from my house. I remember the box, kind of scary. The mom had the half skull, and you didn't see, but Darcy dressed up as the mom from the box, the movie box. She had like a half skull on her face, and she had a head in a box, and she gave it to Joe Bob as a present at the end.
Oh.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. But yeah, I had never seen this movie until last night, so it was great for me as a horror fan. It was a first-time watch. And I had really got interested in this movie because of Chris Jericho, who you know from AEW. Chris Jericho talked about this on In Search of Darkness. I believe it's part 2, which is coming to Shudder April 26th. And you can see an interview with director David Weiner of In Search of Darkness and In Search of Darkness 2 right now on our channel. You can check that out. Chris Jericho talks about Mother's Day and how it was so vile and disturbing, but also funny. And it really made me want to watch it. And then here we are, Joe Bob's Last Drive-In. He opens the new season with Mother's Day.
Why did I think they were going to have an Easter thing?
I don't know why you thought that. Oh, I know why you thought that. Because Joe Bob came on in February and did a Valentine's Day thing. So so Joe Bob does that where like he'll do holiday themed. Obviously they did the Christmas one. They do Halloween, of course. And they did Valentine's Day. I remember the last movie I watched was The Love Witch, which was so much fun.
I watched My Bloody Valentine.
Well, everybody watches My Bloody Valentine. It's a great movie. But yeah, Mother's Day was fantastic. And again, Eli Roth, as a horror fan, watching somebody who's not that much older than me, who has such an affinity for horror, who is a horror historian as well as a filmmaker, just go off and ramble on about facts about horror movies and the interviews that he's done with these people, all the filmmakers and people involved. That was almost more enjoyable than watching the movie, because Mother's Day is a rough film to get into. You have these, this creepy mom living in the Pine Barrens in New Jersey with her 2 really weird rapist kids.
And I walked in like the middle of the night to see if Daddy was still watching the movie, and he said Jackie died, but she was like the main lead of this character.
Yeah, there's 3 girls. One of them gets, raped and killed really in this really terrible scene, which even Eli Roth calls an unforgivable scene. And then the other 2 girls kind of become the rape revenge heroines, and they go and they, kill the 2 siblings and, of course, mom at the end with a pair of inflatable boobs, which was fun. Lots of fun. Obviously, if you watch Joe Bob and the Last Drive-In, you know that they present the Silver Bolo Award. By the way, Darcy, the Lasser cast, we love bolos, in case you're wondering.
I thought you said bullet.
No, bolos. It's a type of tie that cowboys and Southerners wear. The second film, which you did not get to see because you went to bed, was Lucio Fulci's The House by the Cemetery. This is, again, the star of this movie for me had nothing to do with the movie. It was Eli Roth. First of all, it needs to be said, Eli Roth was not in studio. He was on some European island having a wonderful vacation. What? But he, Joe Bob sets up like a dummy body underneath a TV, and then they have Eli Roth's head on the TV. So it's really funny. But I'm trying to think, you've seen some zombie movies, right? Or movies.
Return of the Living Dead. I don't know.
Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead.
Okay. It's funny, she's seen Shaun of the Dead and Return of the Living Dead, but she's never seen
Night of the Living Dead. Or Dawn of the Dead.
Or, yeah, she hasn't seen the Romero films, but she's seen the spoof of Romero films.
The funny version and the...
Yeah. And I'm going to say something controversial. If I had a gun to my head and I had to pick 2 zombie movies to watch, I'd probably pick Return of the Living Dead and Shaun of the Dead over the Romero films. So, I don't know. Challenge my horror cred. I
don't know what you talked about, but me too.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, but that's just because they're more fun. You still have to see the Romero trilogy. The original Romero trilogy is great. House by the Cemetery is the third part of Lucio Fulci's Gates of Hell trilogy that came out in the early 80s. The Beyond and, oh, crud. What's the second film? I think it's called... Oh, City of the Living Dead. That's why I got on the Living Dead kick. City of the Living Dead. This is definitely the weakest of those films, and I think it was really funny watching Joe Bob openly criticize it while Eli Roth kind of glowingly shined affection on it. This movie was shot in Massachusetts, not very far from where Eli Roth grew up. So I think he kind of has a connection there. Also, good thing you're here.
Hi.
Because this movie has one of the most annoying child performances you'll ever see.
Are you saying I'm annoying?
No. Oh, no, I would never say that. I would just imply it on YouTube. You know I love you. A little bit. The Bob. First of all, I don't care what generation you're from. Who names a kid Bob?
Seriously.
Like, Bob is short for Robert. You name your kid Robert, and then when the kid grows up and he's like 35 or 40 and he's wearing overalls and he's going to work every day, he gets called Bob by his coworkers. And, his wife calls him Bob. Bob, did you stop at the grocery store? No 8-year-old kid is called Bob. No, that doesn't happen. Bob is the most annoying kid I have ever seen. And I have seen the Babadook. I think the kid in the Babadook gets a really raw deal. I think that the fact of how annoying he is in the movie is partly his great performance. But Bob in The House by the Cemetery is inexcusable. And the worst part about it is I feel bad for the kid actor because it's the dubbing of his voice. He's dubbed so badly. In fact, Joe Bob said that when he goes to conventions, the actor, he apologizes for how bad the dubbing is. But again, I've seen this movie before. It's a Lucio Fulci movie. You're going to get gory, graphic zombie deaths. You're going to get eye torture and extreme close-ups on eyeballs because it's a Lucio Fulci movie, and that's what Lucio Fulci does. But the star of this movie, again, for me, the star of this segment of The Last Drive-In was Eli Roth giving, in about 5 minutes, just this incredible history of post-World War II American and Italian horror cinema history. And how Italian cinema influenced American cinema, and then how American cinema influenced the Italians back, and bringing up people like Scorsese and Carpenter, obviously Argento and Bava in the 50s and early 60s and 70s. I'm rambling now. House by the Cemetery is fine. It's not my favorite. Lucio Fulci isn't my favorite. I love Italian horror films. Argento is my guy. I love Dario Argento. Lamberto Bava, Mario Bava. I'll take them all over Fulci. But that was still great guest in Eli Roth. Great night with Joe, Bob, and Darcy. Can't wait till next week. My new tradition now is I come home from work on a Friday and I immediately take a 2-hour nap so that I can stay up and watch The Last Drive-In. And Charlotte started watching with me last year. It's how she watched Exorcist Part 3. She's even seen part of Cannibal Holocaust.
I have?
Yeah, don't you remember?
No.
Oh, you don't remember that one? What else have you watched on Last Drive-In?
I almost said Sleepaway Camp.
No.
I did not watch Sleepaway Camp.
Not yet.
Slumber Party Massacre 2.
Oh, that's right. Slumber Party Massacre 2.
As I almost fall down.
With its epic driller killer. Driller guitar killer.
Part of Tammy the T-Rex.
Oh, yep. Yes. Tammy and the T-Rex. Fantastic. Fun. Oh, that was the first part of the Valentine's Day one. It was Tammy and the T-Rex and the Love Witch. There you go.
Oh, okay. What I liked about that movie was, I just liked how the actor from Children of the Corn was in there.
Children of the Corn. Oh, yeah. Yes. Okay.
The little science dude.
Yes. All right. Well, we'll be back next Saturday morning, and we will be talking about next week's episode of The Last Drive-In. Pete and I have a lot more coming up for you this month, covering all of Shudder's new things. tomorrow night, the 18th, the Fangoria Chainsaw Awards are coming to you live on Shudder TV. I'm going to be putting up a review recapping that award show. Go on Shudder, watch that tomorrow night.
You're very famous.
No, I'm not. Next Friday, another episode of The Last Drive-In. Later this month, In Search of Darkness 2 hits the channel. Like I said earlier, our interview with David Weiner is up on the channel now. You can check that out. We're also, later today, we are filming with our friend Brian. We're doing a ranking of the Alien franchise in honor of Alien Day, which is also April 26th for LV 426. And we will be doing that ranking. It's our first ranking video for the channel. That will come up later this month. And Charlotte and I will be back next Saturday.
Bye.
See you later.